Hi guys, Andrew here, and today I'm going to be showing you my Premier League predictions I made from the very start of the season. Now, the format of this is not the greatest. We will improve this next year going forward with my predictions, and yeah. So we start with Crystal Palace, who I put dead last in the league. Immediately off to a terrible start. The reason why I decided to put Crystal Palace 20th was because I thought Zaha was going to leave. He didn't leave. Zaha stayed. Palace stay up in 14. Benteke fires goals in. A dreadful prediction from me. If Zaha had left Palace, I think they still would have stayed up. The way they played this season, I still think they would have done it. But it would have been a lot harder, but they wouldn't have finished 14th with them. They would have probably finished like 16th or something like that. I don't think they would have gone down, but fair play, Palace. You stayed up. Respect. 19th, West Brom. Now, yes, I have put West Brom 19th. Actual finish 19th. This was a prediction which I got spot on. I did not think they would sack Village as early as they did. Maybe if they kept him, they could have stayed up. Who knows? Sam Allardyce at the time looked like a great idea, but it didn't work. It backfired, and West Brom were relegated. Do I think West Brom will return next year? Who knows? I think they had the best chance out of all the teams that went down, but I'm not going to hold my breath with West Brom staying up. And, going back up, I mean. Aston Villa 18th. Okay, there was 3, maybe 4 really bad predictions in this video. Villa was definitely one of the worst ones I made. They finished 11th, and I knew straight away, like the third match of the season, I got this hopelessly wrong, and Villa were going to have a good season. Ollie Watkins has had such a good year for Villa, broke into the England team. Grealish has been good. It's just been, Mings has been brilliant. It's just been a great year for Villa. And fair play to the villains. You stayed up. Let's see. 17th West Ham, the worst prediction of everybody's Premier League predictions. Now, I'm not the only one who did predict this. Now, I've seen people who actually predicted West Ham to go down. I thought Moyes was going to be sacked early doors. He wasn't. Kept his job, had a great season, and in my opinion, arguably manager of the year. For getting a team that was in most people's expected to go down, with fans and everything against them, they survived, finishing 6th. They'll be playing in the Europa League next year, which will be really interesting. And yeah, 16th Fulham. I did say Fulham would finish 16th. Was it the most dreadful prediction I've ever made? Not really, but it was wrong. Fulham went down. I got it in between, I would say, in the middle. But the problem with Fulham that really cost them was the lack of goals in that team. Mitrovic didn't fire, and it cost Fulham big time. And yeah. Newcastle 15th, I'd said. Again, yes, Newcastle did a bit better than what I thought. Maybe because Willock had a good end to the season. Newcastle played really well at the end. If Newcastle go out and buy a top-notch striker, I honestly think Newcastle will finish maybe in the top half next season. They've had a good year, Newcastle, finishing 12th. It's been a good season. And it's all about, trying to rebuild next year. And yeah. 14th, I said Brighton. This was not a bad prediction. I never really predict Brighton to go down. I don't think I ever have in my Premier League predictions. I don't know about next season, though, because I've got a feeling that either Brighton or Burnley, one of those two, will go down next year. So yeah. Brighton finished, anyway, 16th. Stayed up quite comfortably. I would have thought the new signings would have had a little bit more of an impact and maybe helped Brighton finish a little bit higher. It's still not been a bad season at all. Fair play to Brighton and Graham Potter. It doesn't really suit the Brighton style. They defended really well, but Brighton should have done better this season than 16th. I'm going to be honest. They should have finished like maybe 12th. They had a really good year and fair play to them. 13th Burnley. Yep, I predicted Burnley to finish 13th under Sean Dyche. I don't know where it went wrong this season. The lack of money invested in that team. That went wrong for Burnley. Why they finished 13th and 17th. And I'm going to say this now. If Burnley do not spend any money this summer, I honestly do think Burnley will be relegated next year. Sean Dyche or no Sean Dyche. Burnley will go down next year if they do not invest in the summer. And yeah. Alright, here we go. Another bad one. 12th Sheffield United. Yeah, I got this one hopelessly wrong. I said Sheffield United would finish mid-table. I didn't think they would have as good as a season as they did last year. I did not expect them to melt completely. Now, before I say anything here, right, I was afraid to put Sheffield United any lower. And I'll tell you why I was. Because last year I predicted them to come 20th, and that was my worst prediction. I am not good at predicting teams who come last in the league. So I'm going to be sensible with it next year and pick a side who I really think will actually go down. And even if they finish 18th or 19th, I take it. But I'm going to pick a team that is weak. Not like a Palace or a Sheffield United from last year. I'm not going to take a gamble. I'm not next year. I'm just going to predict a team to finish 20th and see. It's 12th Southampton. Actually finished 15th. Their away form cost them. They could have finished 11th with better away form. It cost them in the end. And yet Danny Ings didn't get on the plane. I mean, he's not going to the Euros with England, which I think is a bit disappointing. I thought he deserved it over Watkins. Because Watkins was good this season. Ings was good this season and last season. So, yeah. 10th Leeds. Okay, I got this one. Basically bang on. Now, you've got to give me credit for this. This is arguably my best prediction. It is. Because a lot of people predicted Leeds to be fighting relegation or finish just stone, middle of the bottom half. I predicted Leeds to go on momentum and finish in the top half. And it worked like a tree. I only got this one prediction off. In my opinion, that's a dub. It is. If you get a prediction like 1 or 2 places off, in my opinion, that's a dub. It is. Depending on where, like, Fulham, say, wouldn't be a dub as such. But Leeds would be. Yeah. Leicester, I predicted 9th. What was I thinking? The main reason why I put Leicester so low, now hold on a minute, the reason why I did this was because I honestly thought Europe was going to affect Leicester. They didn't last as long as Europe as I think, as I would have thought. But even if they did, I still think it. But they blew top 4, and I was saying for the whole season, Leicester would blow the top 4, and they did. And yeah. They did. They won the FA Cup. Still a great season for Leicester. Believe me. And yeah, we move on. 8th, I said, would be Everton. Actually finished 10th. Now, you look at Everton, right? You think Calvert-Lewin, Godfrey, Richarlison. You would really have thought Everton would have had a great season with all those good players performing at the very best. So how on earth did Everton finish 10th? I couldn't tell you. They completely bottled it. They did. And my opinion, this season's been a bit of a failure. If you look at it, trophies-wise, weren't even close to one. Didn't get into Europe. Same old with Everton. It is. Like Rodriguez and all these good players you signed. How are Everton still barely getting into the top half? I don't know. It's a bit ridiculous, and yeah. Move on, 7th Wolves. Okay, this was a shocker. Now, before you go jumping at me, if Jimenez had been fit, would Wolves have finished as low as they did? No. If Jimenez was fit, I think Wolves get into the top 10 arguably. Or if not, they're knocking on the door. I did not think the Jota thing would hurt them as much, losing Jota. But it really, really did. And Wolves just collapsed. Without Nuno next season, it's going to be a big year for Wolves to see how they do. And yeah. 6th, Spurs. They actually finished 7th. Okay, I hold my hands up and I say, I think I got this pretty much bang on right. I think my main reason why I put Spurs in 6th was because I thought they were going to focus on the Europa League. Like, what on earth was this season for Spurs? This was a complete mess of a year. You got Kane and Son playing out their skin, and they should have ended it with a trophy. They should have done better in the Europa League, and they should have done better in the League Cup final. Sacked Mourinho like 4 or 5 days, something like that, before a final. That was the most stupid move I saw all season, and yeah. Spurs had a terrible year. They're going to lose Kane in the summer, and I'm going to tell you this now. Spurs, you're going to have a really bad year next year. I can just already tell. If you lose Kane, you're going to be about 8th or 9th. It's going to be a terrible year. 5th, Arsenal. I always predict Arsenal too high. I always do. They don't perform. Mikel Arteta was near a relegation scrap at the beginning of the season. And I honestly thought I predicted Spurs 5th, Arsenal 6th. I knew, though, that Arsenal and Spurs would not break into the top 4. I knew they wouldn't, which I'm very proud of. My only regret is I wish I took a bit more of a shot on like an Everton or Leicester to jump into the top 6. Make it more exciting. And I will do that next year. I'm not going to just put the big 6 in the top 6. I'm going to make it a little bit more exciting next year and put someone else in there. But back to Arsenal 5th. Odegaard came in, was good for them in the end. They had a good end to the season, Arsenal, I suppose. But it hasn't been that good a year. They finished 8th. Really, really poor. And Arsenal have got a long way to go before they can recover from this. Spoiler, onto the top 4. I got the top 4 bang on right. Before we go into positions, I said City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United will all get into the top 4. And they did. I told you they would. But I got a few muddled up. Here we go. United I predicted to finish 4th. They actually finished 2nd. Yeah, United had a good season, they did. If they'd won the League Cup, it would have been, not the League Cup, the Europa League, it would have been a great season for them. A really good year. Finishing 2nd in the league and winning a trophy. They blew the Europa League final last night, though. Completely blew it. And I don't think United will finish in the top 2 next year. I think if they'd won the Europa League, I think they would have kicked on. But that is going to be such a big blow for them. I can't see them getting any big players in the summer. And I expect United to fall off something terrible. I do next year. I still may be top 4, but they will not get into the top 2. I can promise you that. And yeah. But been a good year for Man United this season, realistically, finishing 2nd. And yeah. The winning the trophy would have just been the cherry on top, and they blew it. 3rd, Liverpool. And yeah, remember when I said the Leeds one was my best prediction in the video? No, scrap that. This one was. And I'll tell you why this was the best prediction. Now, I haven't really got a recording, but if you go on to any, by the way, Premier League predictions, Google that on YouTube, go up to the Liverpool bit. Everything I said was spot on. I knew Liverpool would not do good this year. I said in the video, I expect Liverpool to have a bit of a meltdown season, have a bit of a slow start, which they didn't, but I did expect Liverpool during the season would have a collapse for a few months. They did at Christmas. They did all the way until March. And I said they will come back and they will end the season well enough to finish in the top 4. And I think they'll finish 3rd. I could not have got that prediction more right if I tried. I couldn't. Best prediction in the video. Liverpool finished 3rd. The injuries really hurt Liverpool. They did. The Van Dijk, the Gomez, the Matip, the Henderson, they all really hurt Liverpool. They did. And the owners did not help. They really didn't with spending money in January. And I'm going to say this now. If Liverpool buy somebody to replace either Mane or Firmino, like a Sancho or somebody like that, get a good defender in and get a midfielder to replace Gini, I think we'll win the league next season. Even if City buy Kane, I think Liverpool will win the league next year. Second, Chelsea, they finished 4th. Now, hold on a minute now. If Tuchel had been there all season with Chelsea, I think this would have been reality. I honestly think Chelsea would have finished top 2 if Tuchel had been there all year. So I'm going to take this prediction as a bit of a win. I'm happy with this prediction. Frank Lampard melted like an ice cream at the beginning of the season with all the talent and all that. He didn't know what to do with it. And yeah, Chelsea finished 4th. They got the Champions League final against Man City, which I hope they win, but I don't think they will. I think Man City will win that. And yeah, good season for Chelsea in the end. And move on to the team who I predicted to win the league, Man City. They won the league. Told you they would. And again, like Liverpool, everything I said about City in that video, spot on about City. Saying that they would win the league, but not by the margin that Liverpool and City won the years before. Because the title challenge this year would not be as big. I knew this would happen. This is a good prediction, and I'm very happy with it. So overall, I would give myself for these predictions a C. I would, overall. Well, I'm going to give me about a C. If I'd got the relegation more right, like a bit more right, predicted like Villa, West Ham a little bit higher, Sheffield United a bit lower, I would have given myself like a really good grade. But I would give myself about maybe a 6 out of 10. Because some of these predictions I got nailed on. Like the Leeds, Liverpool, City, hard predictions. But I do admit there was a load of predictions I really messed up. I can't wait to do the championship. Anyway, it's been me. See you next time.